Restart.
Oh my god. Sorry, guys.
Salty Dangler.
Salty,
they're not hearing anything, right?
You saved us, dude. No, they're not hearing anything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't get the timer or anything. Ah! Let's just go. Jeez. Sorry, boys. Happy New Year! We're live now, right? We are live. Okay. Oh my gosh. I can't hear you, Brian. Did you mute yourself? I don't think Brian can hear me. Let's go. Let's just real quick, guys. Woo! Woo!
Hello, race fans. This is Larry Supermouth Huffman, AMA Hall of Fame announcer.
God.
And this isn't Supercross. It's Wednesday. And you're watching Bay Fishing with Roman and Brian. Stand by while the boys teach secrets of bay bass fishing with Roman on his 6-second nitro-burning pedal drive kayak. And Brian in his Cool Baits high-speed dragster boat that he takes out every Sunday. Be there!
All right, we're back. Woo! What's up, guys? All right, so sorry about that. I thought we were live and I didn't hit the live button. Anyway, so welcome to Fish Hour. If it's your first time here, we're actually doing a special episode today, exclusively focusing in on Spotty Bowl. So if it's your first time fishing Spotty Bowl, this is a place to be. Please ask all your questions here. We're gonna be able to repost this stream in the in the two discords for Spotty Bowl LAOC and Spotty Bowl San Diego. If you want, again, since we're talking Spotty Bowl, let's bring in the champ. The two-time champ, Mr. Brian, likes to fish. There he is, Mr. Brian likes to fish. What up, Brian? How's it going today?
Oh, what's up, Roman?
I was wondering why I didn't get any reaction from the intro music. I was like, what? Nobody said anything.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Just tune in. This is hilarious. I did a huge intro.
I'll tell you guys, the show was so good.
Oh my god.
We already
Roman
did.
forgot to hit the go live button.
I forgot to hit the go live button. We already did Pop Top. We're like 10 minutes in, guys. I'm like, man, these comments are lame.
Yeah, we did. You should have seen the intro. This is crazy. I had pyro.
Happy New Year, everybody. Sorry about that. I'm glad to be back. Like I said, I know, dude.
Only me and you know. We did an entire 10-minute show without the live button.
Oh my gosh. This is the second intro. So Pop Top was, and nobody gave me any score for Pop Top.
Thank you, Salty Dangler. It wasn't for Salty Dangler because all of a sudden my phone, I got a text from Salty Dangler like, "Hey, you guys,
so
you guys forgot to go live button."
I was like, we're like halfway through the announcements, guys. That's so crazy. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we did Pop Top. Brian got like a 9. I got like a 13.
I got a second one here. Oh no, I don't. Okay, it's just pretend. Here it goes.
Nice.
Rate that out of 1 to 10.
Nice. All right, let's keep it going because we're already missing enough time. Okay.
All right, guys. So tonight, this show is mainly about Spotty Bowl. If you saw the thumbnail, Spotty Bowl is this weekend. The LAOC is coming up in the 20th of this month. So this bowl, if you're brand new to this show, tonight is all about Spotty Bowl. We're going to break down how to submit, where to submit. We're going to break down the rules. You're going to know everything you need to know about Spotty Bowl. Plus, if you have any questions, we're going to be looking at the chat. Now is the time to ask them. So if you're new to Spotty Bowl, this is your first year, or you just have a question, put it in chat. We'll definitely get to it right when you put it in. And if we can't answer it, somebody else will.
There you go. Very cool.
Right.
Roman 10, Brian 10. Let's go. Let's get going. Exactly, Dave. Exactly. Just keep it going. All right. So we have some announcements before we get on with the show. If you don't know, Spotty Bowl grew from a core group of guys. What I call the foundation of like our San Diego fishing scene, and that's the Mad Max Fishing Club. It's a community that we kind of brought together because of the audience I had generated through my YouTube fishing channel, and then we decided to call the group the Mad Max Fishing Club, and that club was kind of like the seed for getting Spotty Bowl off the ground and getting enough people to participate. And now this is gonna be our 3rd year running Spotty Bowl. So I'm super proud of you guys. Super proud of MMFC, everybody in here. Super proud of Brian for helping promote it and for being the champ twice in a row. And also I'm super proud of Eric, the judge, for doing all of the hard work of judging and getting all that stuff, keeping all that stuff in order. Like my agreement with the judge was, hey, I'll promote it and we'll get the seed people in there and get it going, and it's up to you to do the hard work of scoring it and judging and all that good stuff. He's an awesome dude. I jump in there to help judge sometimes, and if he has any questions or he wants like a second opinion, I'll jump in and do my second opinion. But this is the core of a Spotty Bowl. So this year we decided to do another region and expand the Spotty Bowl from just being in San Diego to LAOC. So we have it's kind of like 2 tournaments at once. It's pretty cool. I wanted to have people in LA and Orange County have the opportunity to fish in this cool tournament. And again, the last thing before I stop my rant is the whole goal of Spotty Bowl was to give the people that didn't have anything to do besides any kind of fishing tournaments to attend. Like the freshwater guys had KBF. I think it's kayak bass fishing. They do the freshwater stuff on lakes and stuff. And there was nothing like that for salt. And also there was nothing like that for kayakers or like there was shore pounders for people that fish from shore, but there was nothing like that for kayaker primarily, right? And fishing on salt. So go ahead.
And I know when we were, Eric he came up with the idea basically, and him and Roman kind of massaged it, and we wanted to make sure that Spotty Bowl was not just a regular Spotty tournament. We wanted to make sure that this was the gold standard. Everybody gets a fair shake.
Yep.
All the pitchers are judged. Everything's critiqued by the judge. So we try to make this gold standard. Everybody gets a fair shake. So that's what we're shooting for, is a tournament that you can feel comfortable coming into and knowing that everybody's getting a fair shake in that.
Exactly. Very cool. Very cool. David, your question is a good question. The photos have geotagging on there. They'll show what harbor you're in. They should anyway. If not, we'll ask you to enable that.
Yeah, and it's like any sport. We ask everybody to be honest. You're fishing in specific zones, and spotted bay bass, you can't go out in the ocean and catch a spotted bay bass. So if you're fishing in the correct body of water, yep, they're going to be where the boundaries are, which is inside the bay. Like if San Diego Bay, you're not going to be leaving out to the middle of the 9 miles out to go catch spotties. So you're going to be in the bays. Yep. And we set the boundaries all the way to the edge of the bays. Yeah. So
so it's a solid team, and we've grown a lot since the beginning, and we've learned a lot. We made some mistakes, and we've learned from our mistakes, and we've systematized a lot of it. So I think we're like a finely tuned machine now. Not finely tuned machine, but we're getting there. Okay. Definitely.
We're 3rd year.
Yeah, we have some experience in our belts now, and we can run a tourney for sure.
For sure. Okay, announcements. We're going to get back to Spotty Bowl. We're going to get back to the rules and regulations, but we got a few club announcements real quick. We've got a trip coming up, Roman, not coming up, but in the far future. We're just starting to feel it out, talk about this. So we want to go ahead and talk about that trip we got coming up.
Yes, in September 8th through coming back on the 13th. It's a trip to a place called Rancho Leonero, and this is where we realized we were not broadcasting. So that's what we missed.
We got past that.
Right? So Rancho Leonero is a great place that was brought to my attention by Captain Dan, an awesome member of the Mad Max Fishing Club, and it's an amazing place to fish, and we are gonna have a trip as a group where if you want to come, you can come. And the way it's set up, I'm gonna send you guys an email with the information for it and everything you need to know to make a decision whether you want to go or not. And then if you do decide to go, the instructions on how to book your stay. The only thing that we do need to talk about here live is that since the way that you book the resort is you basically book your room, and you have to figure out who you're going to split your room with. Once you figure out who you're splitting your room with, you can split that room. You can split also the panga that you're going to fish on that day, and you have to decide how many days you want to fish on a panga. and then figure out who you're going to go with on those different days. If you're going to just stick with that same other person and fish with that same person for the next 3 days, then you're good to go. But if you want to fish some days, like for example, I know Brian's going to want to do a salty run. Sorry, not a salty run. Brian and Salty are probably going to want to do a spotted bay bass run.
Heck yeah, right? We are.
And I'm not interested in that at all. But I am interested in taking and doing a day of diving with Bo. And Bo's going to come and he's going to probably fish on a different day. But I know that one day Bo and I are going to dive, right? So first you have to figure out who you're going to room with. And then once you figure out who you're going to room with, you're going to book your boat for those 3 days of fishing. And then once you have a boat booked, you figure out who's going to be on your boat. And you're going to split the room and you're going to split the boat. And it's super affordable. And it's a really fishy place. And it's just amazing. The price that I'm going to include in the sheet list includes your stay, your food, your drink with your meal, but not alcoholic drinks, and it's super affordable. The only thing you have to come out of pocket with would be your flight, or you can drive down if you want. But your flight, what we're going to try to coordinate with the flights is I want all of us to take the same flight, or at least a flight on the same day where we can get dropped off at CBX. Take a Volaris flight down to Rancho Lonero, and then I can coordinate with them at the ranch to get picked up like by a couple of shuttle vans, so we can all kind of have that experience of landing at the airport, hanging out for a little bit, waiting for everybody else to show up, and then we all just pile into the vehicles. They load all our stuff in there, and we get to the resort, and it's just like a fun time. It's gonna be amazing.
Hey, Caden, what kind of gear should I have? We're not gonna start answering gear on this because we got all the way till September. So this is just put it out there that we're getting ready to start booking this.
Yeah.
But the dates are September 8th through 13th. So we're not in this show. We're not going to get into the gear, but as it gets closer, we'll start talking about all the details.
I'll probably send out that email this week, guys. I'll send out the email this week because I actually called and talked to the people in charge, and I have the exact details, and that's gonna go out. So if you have questions at that point, you can reach out to me about gear. They even have gear though, so you don't have to take their own. You can just rent their gear. So
yeah. And Caden, if you're talking about what kind of gear do you have for Spotty Bowl, you got to watch this show every single week because that's all.
It changes.
Spotty Bowl.
Yeah.
Fishing for Spotties.
Very cool.
Okay,
So that's
next announcement. So yeah, marking your calendars, guys. September 8th through the 13th, 5 days should be a blast. Trying to get the whole MMFC crew or whoever wants to be on there.
Yeah.
Next announcement. We haven't done a group outing for a while as a club,
Yes.
so looking at putting something together in January, just a chill. Go out.
I'm talking very chill. You know how I do it, guys. So I'm not a. This is a wrong crowd to talk to, but I'm not a super hardcore experienced tournament angler that shows up at like 4 a.m. and gets all their stuff dialed in and has everything tied up and launches at like 5:02, right? For like a shotgun start. No, that's not me. I like to get up in the morning, swing by the taco shop, get a burrito. You know, show up at the meeting spot like around 7:30 or 8 and launch by 8:30 hopefully. So not a chill 17 miles, right? So I want this outing to just be. I want this outing to be more like a relaxed thing. Let's go hang out. Let's go fish. Let's go kayak fish or boat fish, whatever. Join us, and we're gonna go out in the morning, fish around. Maybe La Jolla, not La Jolla, maybe San Diego Bay or Mission Bay. Just go fish around, and then at the end of the fishing session, maybe like around noon or 1, just go somewhere and eat, and call it a day. You can continue to fish after that. You can go and fish before we show up, and just come back and meet us somewhere once we're meeting together. That way, like you can still make a whole day out of it if you're like a hardcore fisherman, Salty, and you want to start fishing at 5 a.m. and then take a break and come meet us at 8.
I mean, we used to do these all the time, but sometimes we get busy. So now we're going to try to plan just a chill group outing, kayak outing.
Very nice. Abdul, what up, dude? Abdul, welcome to the show. He said he caught his first spotty for the year. Nice job, dude. Congratulations. Let's go. Round of applause. Woo.
There
you go. Taking all donations be a nice.
The pre-fish for this week's been rough, man. We've had some terrible weather. Mm-hmm. It's weird in San Diego right now. It's really rainy. We're not used to this weird atmospheric river that's dumping on us. Okay, so I think that's it for announcements. Unless you got anything else, Roman, I think that is it. Like I said, this show is about Spotty Bowl. So at this moment right here, we're going to talk about Spotty Bowl continuously.
What's up, Ken?
Mark
Welcome.
this spot if you're new to Spotty Bowl and you want to learn everything about it. By the way, did you know I was writing a book, Roman? It's about reverse psychology. Please don't buy it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that one didn't go very good. Oh man.
All right, hold on. I just marked the wrong thing. Are we gonna start now?
If you only knew, if my wife and I are having a huge argument on whose turn it is to do the laundry, I finally threw in the towel. All right. So now in all serious, let's get the Spotty Bowl. So guys, this is third year Spotty Bowl. The market now. Ready, set, now.
Go.
Okay. This is third year in Spotty Bowl. Thank you for everybody that signed up already. You can still sign up. You can actually sign up for Spotty Bowl any time of the season. If you come in a couple weeks late, you can always fish for side pots. Some of the like Masters Division, all that, you got a good chance of getting the playoffs. We're going to talk about all that in a little bit. So Spotty Bowl starts, Roman, this weekend, San Diego Bay, January 6th. This weekend is the beginning of Spotty Bowl, and it goes all the way till end of July. So it's a long season. We fish it once a month. And this year, we've also opened it up in the LA Orange County area, which starts January 20th through 22nd up there. So you guys will be right behind us. And guys, if you signed up for San Diego and you're like a diehard angler that it wants to learn other bays, you live in San Diego, you can do both. You can sign up for both Spotty Bowls.
Yeah, we set them up so they're staggered. The weekends are staggered, so if you wanted to fish both, you can.
So you can fish both Spotty Bowls. So you guys up in LA, if you want to fish San Diego and vice versa, San Diego, you can sign up to fish both. The format for it is there's 7 tournament series, and there's actually 4 different categories you can enter. We have a shore division, which is you fish from shore. One of the cool things about the shore division also, we started this last year, is that you can fish either bay. So don't look at the schedule for the guys in the vessels or the kayaks. I'm talking about Weekend Warrior Division, Pro, and Masters. They're in a designated bay. They have to they rotate between 2 bays, and they can only fish the bay they're designated in. But with shore division, you're allowed to fish both bays in the same day. You can fish one bay, you can fish the other bay, Mission Bay, San Diego Bay, whichever you want. So that's the only division you can do that in. So if you guys want, you can also sign up for shore division, and you can also sign up for a vessel division. You can do both. I did that last year, and I had a great time. I learned a lot about shore fishing last year. So if you want to be totally diehard, you could sign up for a shore division, a master division, and you can go up to LA.
Nice.
Okay, so the session times. So the session times, the way we try to make Spotty Bowl, I don't know how to say it, but like as lenient as possible as far as schedules go. That's one of the things I think about this tournament that's really cool, Roman, is that you can choose your day that you want to fish. Not everybody has Saturday off. Not everybody has Sunday off. Not everybody has Friday off. But in Spotty Bowl, you choose which day you're going to fish, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday of an assigned weekend. So let's say you're going to fish Saturday. And then once you decide your day, you can decide if you're going to fish an AM session or a PM session. So the AM session is 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the PM session is 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And so you can only fish one or the other. You can't fish both for Spotty Bowl. So what you're going to do is you're going to, before that day of the tournament, like say I'm going to fish on Friday. I put in Discord, I'm going to fish Friday AM session, and that's telling the judge that Eric, who's looking at all this, that I'm going to fish that session, and is that allotted time is the only time you're allowed to submit your fish from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. if you decided that. Okay, any questions about times or schedules?
So we'll let that simmer for a little bit. Let me just talk about something for a little bit in case any questions come in before we move on to the next part. Yeah, so we did this so you have a better chance of actually participating, because if you work on a week, if you worked in a work week, then you can fish on the weekend, and if you're working on the weekends, you can maybe sneak in a Friday session. So that's pretty good. And then I also want to take a quick minute to just thank Muto from Submission Fishing Co. for becoming one of our sponsors. We're renewing the bounty program, and we'll talk a little bit more about the bounty program down in the rest of the show. But we're also happy and proud to welcome Hookup Baits to the bounty program. So yeah, we're the way we're setting it up, it's gonna be really fun this year. So it gives people that maybe are not in the runnings for playoffs still opportunities to win every week and continue to fish, even if maybe they are not going to make the playoffs or they're falling behind. You still have a chance of winning side bets, or not side bets, side pots or bounties, as we're going to call them. Cool. I don't see any more questions coming in as far as the timing goes. So let's move on to the next phase.
Okay, so if you have any questions, just remember, guys, you have to declare your time before the time starts. So if you're fishing Friday in the morning, Thursday night would be nice, but you have to declare it before your time starts. And the reason we do that is so that if somebody goes out there at 6 a.m. and they have a rough morning and they say, I'm going to stop fishing, I'm going to fish at 1, you have to declare your time. And once you've declared that time, you're locked into that time once it starts. So make sure you declare your time.
Don't let me forget this too, Brian. Also, let's Cool Baits is also doing a bounty. Are you guys doing the bounty every week, or are you doing the one bounty for the season?
One bounty for the season for both LA and San Diego.
Perfect. Very cool. And then we're also in the process of negotiations for getting other companies to do bounties, either per session or for the whole season. But there's a lot of side pots coming up, guys. It's gonna be awesome. On that note, you're just talking about Discord. Real quick, while before I forget, let me just cover this real quick. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with your thing too much. Discord. Right now, when you guys sign in, the judge contacts you and he asks you to jump into the Discord either for San Diego or LAOC, and it gives you a slot. He gives you your own thread. Right now, you can look at everybody else's thread and comment in it. But once the season starts, we're gonna lock those down so only you, the judge, and myself can see what's typed in there. That way you can't see each other's scores or anything like that until the results show that's going to happen on the Wednesday on this show after each weekend. Okay. So we fish this weekend. Next Wednesday is going to be the results show for that weekend. And then LAOC is going to fish the next weekend. And then the next Wednesday show will be the results show for LAOC. Okay. That's the way we're going to do it. It makes it easier, makes it more fun. And there's no strategic advantage of waiting to the end of the day to upload your catches and risking losing those photos in case you lose your phone. Like say you fish most of the day, you have all your fish, and then you lose your phone towards the end of the day and you don't get to submit your fish even though you already had them. That sucks. So like you want to encourage you to submit those as you catch them if we're convenient because there's strategy to it. Submit those where convenient. That way don't have to worry about anybody looking at your score until the results show, till the following Wednesday. Okay. Anything else on that piece before we move on?
Yeah, so I got a question from David in here. He says, longest 3 spotties per session. So David, okay, so for Spotty Bowl, you're fishing for your 5 longest in length spotties. And that's how you win basically the Spotty Bowl session. The person that has the longest 5 spotties in length, that's how you win it. Now, there's other things that are involved. There's a lot of side pots that you're going to be fishing for also. And those are something that goes on throughout the entire season. We're going to go over the side pots in a little bit, but you're fishing for 5 longest spotties. And I'm going to show you how to measure them. We're going to go through all that in a minute.
Very cool.
And one more question from, I think I saw Frank in here. So if I catch a fish at 12:59, but it doesn't post until 1:01. Okay, so Frank, we did run into this problem. So what I recommend, basically what Roman just said, is posting your fish as you go. We've had a few times where people try to wait until 12:50 and start posting their fish on Discord one at a time, and sometimes the upload takes a little bit of time to upload, and you end up getting to 101, 102, 103, and your fish are finally getting in. So I would recommend posting as you go, but if you don't like to do that, give yourself a healthy amount of time, an hour, half an hour, because sometimes cell reception comes in, and the judge is pretty strict on this. If you're 101, it's officially in the rules that is past your time. Yeah. So the judge is very strict on the rules, and he's like that with everybody.
Yeah, and we do it that way, Frank, because somebody else that's fishing the same tournament is taking the time to upload their photos before the time. So if we give you the extra minute, we need to give everybody else an extra minute, right? And then it's like, oh, how many minutes do you get extra? So,
Yeah.
and the best way to keep it fair
get 'em-
is to be super strict on that rule.
Yeah, and in Discord, you'll it has a timestamp when you submit it. We've even had instances where it was a daylight picture, but they submitted them after 8 p.m., but it's still past your time. So we're very strict on a lot of these rules, and that's one of them: declaring your day and getting your photos in on time. So make sure you give yourself a good amount of time.
And a good thing to do, guys, too, since we're talking about this now, to test the functionality that you understand how to submit photos and stuff to your thread. I would like for you, if you're watching this, to submit a photo of just your measuring device, like your hog trough or your catch board.
Yeah.
Because those are the really the only two that are approved for what we're doing.
I'm going to go over measuring devices, and
Yep.
I'm actually going to show you how to submit a
Perfect.
fish on my phone. I've been practicing it.
Perfect. So then what you guys can do is just submit your board, just real quick, give the judge some work, say, hey, is this board okay? Right? And then he'll tell you if it's good or not. Because what I want you guys to do is, are you going to go over the marker thing?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Go
All right, cool. Let's move on.
We got a whole hour.
Nice.
Okay, so best 5 fish in length. That's what we're going for, and they have to be. I'll show you the measuring device you're going to do that on. It's mainly catch and release this tournament, but if you have legal bass, that's up to you what you do with it. So it's catch and release. Okay, divisions. So if you guys have probably already signed up. Sorry, I better read this here. You guys have probably already signed up for a division. There's 4 divisions, and I started talking about the shore division already. That is fishing only from shore. We do allow you to wear waders if you want to wade in up to your hips. That's fine. Shore division, you're only allowed to fish from legal fishing areas. And like I said, you can fish either bay. So that's the only division you can do that in. Weekend Warrior, we opened up Weekend Warrior. It used to be called Novice, but we like the name Weekend Warrior on that. Weekend Warrior is maybe guys that this is their first tournament, or you're just getting into spotty fishing and you want to give this a shot. The Weekend Warrior division's a lot about having fun and getting out there and learning how to tournament fish. And usually Weekend Warriors average about 50-inch. The really good boards are 50-inch. So if you're between 0 and 50-inch, you might consider that as your division if you haven't already signed up.
Perfect.
And then there's the pro division. Go ahead.
We have great questions coming through. So
Yes.
Frank's got a good question. He says, if I declare my day today but want to change it tomorrow, and it's okay, is it okay as long as it's before either date? It's got to be before midnight of the day you're gonna fish. So if you declare that you're gonna fish Friday, you gotta delete it or redeclare before midnight, before Thursday night midnight or 12 a.m. Friday morning, even though you're fishing at 6. Cool.
You can change it. You just have to do it the day before.
Yeah, exactly, the day before the day you declared. Okay. And then we had another one real quick about
From Oliver.
about how many you can submit. You can submit 1 fish, 2 fish if you want. If you're already at your 5 fish, you can also submit the 6th or the 7th. The judge is just gonna take your biggest fish and count those, and he's gonna reach back out to you and say, "Hey, look, I have this as your score. Do you agree?" And you can say yep or nope, and then he'll give you your total points or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, we're asking you to only submit 1 picture of each fish. Don't take 3 pictures of 1 fish and submit it as one catch. We want 1 picture of each fish. I'm going to go over that too.
Okay.
1 picture of each fish. But yeah, Roman's right. If you have your 5 fish already, you can always upgrade and leave those 5 on there.
Yep.
So you can always upgrade. If you catch 25 fish though, just take, I mean, I guess if you keep upgrading, you can do that. Yeah. But normally it's like you catch your first 5 and then you just start calling out and,
upgrading. like you wouldn't want to add another picture of a fish. I would probably take the picture of the fish just for practice, but if it's gonna slow you down and you could be catching a bigger fish, right? Why do that? Also, there's a lot of strategic things you can do there. But real quick before we continue, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button so we can move on. We have 43 people watching and 23 likes. If you're watching from a phone or a tablet, you'll need to exit the chat, hit that like button, and then come back into the chat. Okay, thanks for doing that.
Okay, and then Weekend Warrior division. So if you want to go into the pro division, they average about 50 to 65 inches, and that is the pro division is very competitive this year. It's the biggest division there is. There's a lot of people in Pro Division. That's a great way if this is your second or third year. You're not quite sure you want to jump into Masters yet. Pro Division's an awesome place to be. I'm going to say it's a very competitive division. You're gonna have a lot of fun in that division this year. Pro Division, you have so many people in there. 1 inch is going to vary from 20th position up to 15th position. Each inch in the Pro Division is going to count. And then there's the Masters Division, which is the highest division. The guys that have been fishing a lot of tournaments have made the playoffs in Spotty Bowl before, or this could be their first Spotty Bowl, but they think they got what it takes. They average over 66 inches. So if you think you can catch, it's usually 5 legals in the Masters. If you think you can get that, jump in. We'd love to have you in Masters Division. So it's the top tier division. So if you think you can jump in Masters, jump in there. We'd love to have you. And if you guys that are in a Pro Division look at it and you think, I'm going to move up to Masters, you can still move up right now. You just have to pay the difference and move into the Masters Division.
There you go.
Okay, schedule. I'm not going to go over all the schedule. It's all online. If you go to spottybowl.com, it'll break down the whole schedule. Basically, it's 1 event per month. First event is this weekend, San Diego Bay. And when you look at the schedule, also, you need to look at the bay that you're going to be fishing. Unless you're in shore division, you can fish either. But it rotates from San Diego Bay to Mission Bay. And you LA guys, it does the same thing. It from Newport to Alamitos, it rotates one to the next to the next. Once the regular season is over, we go into a playoff division. Playoffs are interesting. It's the first tournament, Roman, that I've ever fished that has like a 1 versus 1 person. It's very interesting. I've had to do it a few times. It's a little nerve wracking. I had to fish.
That's good though.
I had to fish against Chad last year, and it was a little nerve wracking for me. But so basically, with the playoffs, is you take the top 8 people from each division. Let's say the Weekend Warriors and the pros. You take the top 8. So you combined all your scores from all your sessions, and you throw away your lowest. So you get 1 mulligan. Say you got sick and you miss a weekend or you go on vacation. The judge gives you 1 mulligan session. So there's 7 sessions. You get your best 6. So he takes all 6 of your sessions, adds them up, your total overall length, and the people with the top 8 scores go on to the playoffs, which start in July and go through all the way through July, 15th, 22nd, 29th. And the way that works is we're going to pull, this is what we did last year. We pulled names, and that's the person that you're going to be fishing against. So it's a 1 versus 1, and the winner of that 1 versus 1 advances to the next round. And when we get further into the season, I'm not going to go too much into playoffs tonight, but when we get further into the season, get close to playoffs, and we start having some, gauge of where everybody's at, we start saying, this person's close to, you're 1 out of playoffs. So we'll do a lot of playoff talking during the results show. But just remember, top 8 in all the categories except for shore, which is top 4, because usually it's a smaller division. And if we don't get a huge turnout in Masters, it'll be the top 6 in Masters. It's going to be 8 or 6 in Masters, depending on the turnout. Tournament boundaries. So I'm going to go to my screen share here real quick, Roman.
Okay, give me a sec. Oh, there goes screen. Here we go. All right, we're there.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, good.
Yep, got it. We're there.
Okay, guys, so tournament boundaries. This right here is a map of San Diego Bay. Very basic San Diego Bay. The whole entire bay is open. You go all the way to this line right here, and it's like there's a buoy line at the very end of the jetty, and that is basically the cutoff. You probably wouldn't go spotty fishing beyond that anyway, but that is the cutoff. This map is on spottybowl.com. If you want to go in and take a look at it, it is on the webpage. You can check it out, but there's a boundary, this line right here, which is the last buoy line. It's marked right on here. But other than that, it's all open. Here's a map of San Diego Bay, the areas that we're not allowed to fish in. Doesn't matter if it's during a tournament or anything. These are off-limit areas. Right over here, everything indicated in red is off-limits. This is the big military area where they're working on military ships, so you're not going to be in there. There's a little military area over here, too. And bait barge is open. You can see that in green, but there's some areas around the bait barge that are all military, the submarine pen. So don't go, you'll get shushed out of there anyway. Don't go messing around in the military areas. That's the only areas you're not allowed in San Diego Bay. If you want to see this map too, it's also on the rules section on spottybowl.com. Mission Bay, all the way to the 5 mile an hour buoys. It's like the very first set of buoys halfway through the jetty. Everywhere in Mission Bay is open to fishing. there is a sanctuary over by Campland right here, marked by buoys. That's the only area I know of that's you can't fish in Mission Bay, so it's wide open there.
Yeah,
Here is Alamitos Bay, all the way to the end of the jetty. So you guys can fish anywhere you want inside of the bay. And here is Newport, same thing, all the way to the end of the jetty. So you guys in Newport, just stay inside the bay. All right, I'm gonna leave my screen share. Is there any questions about boundaries?
let's see. Going back to co-host split here. Still growing.
So the boundaries, just if you want to check out that map or you have questions, you can always ask the judge or Roman and I also in Discord if you have any questions. Let's see. Dale and Frank should move up. I agree. Dale, Frank, you guys are veterans, man. Move up to the Masters. Nuclear subs, nuclear sized spotties, Dave Rage says. If you started casting in that area, you know how quick you're. I mean, that boat with the 50 cal in front would be out so quick.
Yeah, right.
Jesse, is there? Okay, there's a question from Jesse here. You can't fish north. Yeah, okay. So the 101 bridge. Yeah, Jesse's right. In Newport, there's a bridge, and just north of that is in Newport is a sanctuary. I don't know what's called, environmental sensitive area.
So the rules are set up that says anywhere where you're legally allowed to fish.
Right.
So we don't need to go and specify every single spot that has a reserve or a restricted fishing area. As the angler, it's your responsibility to know the rules of fishing, the laws, and what areas you're allowed to fish in, what your take limit is, and all that good stuff, right? That's part of being a responsible angler. So just like being a responsible driver, you need to know what a red light means and a green light means, and right. So we're not here to hold your hand through that process. You gotta be responsible.
It's Jesse's right though. There's a bridge 101 that marks that. That's basically where a lot of people launch their kayaks. Most of the kayak anglers know that you can't go north of that bridge. Okay, we got another question. What are your thoughts on the north side island yellow section? So you are allowed to fish there unless you're told not to. So it's stated on that map right there, and there's like some pylons and stuff there. It's a legal fishing area, but if they're doing some type of military action and they tell you to get out, get out. So there's a few yellow sections on that map. It outlines exactly the rules on that, Eric. If you want to go to that map and read exactly what those rules are. Newport Dunes is a no-no, yeah. Newport Dunes is where the RV park, right? Where they have the inflatable like trampolines for all the kids and stuff.
Nice.
I don't know if you can get in there. Maybe in a kayak. Yeah. Okay, so I know this, guys. This is the show. We're going to go over the rules so that if you have questions, please, now is the time to type them in. Don't be afraid. There's no dumb questions in there. So, okay, must have a valid fishing license. You guys don't know. Most of our fishing license expired 4 days ago. So get out there and get a new fishing license. You have to have a valid fishing license. Part of Spotty Bowl, part of fishing. That's just part of it.
But the good thing is it's a year long now, right?
Yeah, it's 365 days.
So it's 365 days.
In January though, so
I know. I'm still stuck on that cycle.
Schedule.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if you choke and you haven't fished, the first few months, you get an extra couple months, I guess. Then okay. Fishing for 5 spotted baby bass per tenant. Fish size minimum Eric has is 8 inches. So don't be, because most of the bump boards start at 8 inches. So if you get a really small fish and you want to do it in the smallest spotty side pot, I'll go over that in a little bit. You can start that fish at the 10-inch line, and then we can do it. Submit your best 5 on the Discord app. I'm going to show you real quick, Roman. I'm going to try to do this live.
So screen share?
No, I'm going to hold my phone up and show you guys how to submit.
Let me go full screen on that real quick.
Let me know how this shoots up.
When you hold it up to the camera, make sure you tilt it down a little bit so it doesn't catch the reflection of your light.
Okay. So you guys are going to have a Discord channel on there, Spotty Bowl. It's specific to LA or San Diego. You're going to click on there, and then you're going to click on your name and your division. Here's mine right here. Brian likes to fish. So this is where you're going to submit your photos. And how to submit a photo is if you click on my name here. If you look right here at the bottom, there's a plus symbol. You can see this little plus symbol. You see that, Roman?
Yep.
You're going to hit that plus symbol, and it's going to bring up your photos in your phone. And what you're going to do, erase that one. Let me find a spotty picture here. Is you're going to click the photo you want to submit. I'm going to submit this. So you click that photo, and now it's put that photo on the screen. But before you send it, before you hit that blue button, what makes it a million times easier for the judge is if you go into the text line, once you've clicked your photo, go in the text line and then type in the length. I'm going to say 13.5. So I've got my photo there, and now I've typed in 13.5. Once you've done that, you just hit the blue arrow, and you can see it's uploading that photo, and boom, your photo has been uploaded. And on the very top of it, it will tell you the size of it. So that's the easiest way to do it. Hit the plus button, select your photo, and then before you hit the send button, type in the length and then hit send. And that makes it a ton easier for the judge. That way he doesn't have to go through. He goes through every photo, but then he can look through your biggest 5 if you have 10 fish submitted and none of them sizes.
Yep.
Let's take it easy on the judge. Let's submit our photos with the length. So does anybody have questions about submitting that on your phone? Tilt your phone, too much glare. Sorry, Dave. Let me see if I can get that a little better here.
I told him, Dave. I told him.
It's hard to do things backwards. So the plus symbol right here, press that, and then it's going to bring up all your photos. Mm-hmm. And then you select a photo. I just selected my photo. And then you, right where the text line is, you hit that again, and then you can put in your length. Let's just say 14, and then you hit the blue send button. And I think it's the same on Android, Apple, and then it'll upload photo.
It's the same. It's the same.
My advice is to practice. And now's the time. Figure it out. You don't want to be out there on the bay taking your pictures and you can't figure out Discord. Eric, right now, if you want to practice a few photos, go in there. You can take a picture of your cat and submit that. But just figure out how to submit photos on your phone before you get out there. Also, another piece of advice I'd give you is if you catch a fish, take like 3 pictures of it, because sometimes the fish may slightly open his mouth. We're going to get into this. And if you have 3 pictures, you can look through them real quick after you've thrown the fish in and make sure that your picture's perfect and submit it. That way you don't get any deductions. Okay. So that's how you submit your fish on Discord. Artificial baits only. Scent is okay. So we aren't using cut bait. We aren't using live bait. This is a bass fishing tournament where we're only using artificial bait. No live bait, no cut bait, nothing like that is allowed in this. But you are allowed to use scent. So if you want to use scent, go for it. Maximum of 1 line in the water at once. So if you're in your kayak, you can't be fishing with 2 rods. You can't have 10 rods in the water. It's 1 rod in hand fishing it. So Justin has a question. Do you have to wear a PFD?
Yes.
Float tube within the tournament rules. Justin, yes. We are encouraging everybody to wear a PFD. I'm not sure on the float tube. On a kayak, that's a law to wear one, but on the float tube,
if the Coast Guard requires you to wear one, then yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that too. If it's required by Coast Guard, yes. I know sometimes they're constricting, and you guys in the float tubes are like right there in the docks usually. But if it's required, yes. It's a good safety item, and for Spotty Bowl, we'd like to keep with the rules. No outriggers. That's right, Dave. Okay, no long lining, which is no long lining. Can't do that during it. Maximum of 1 line, one rod in hand. No unattended rods. There's no trolling allowed. So you guys that are A-rig trollers or just want to just paddle around the bay trolling, there's no trolling. It's cast and retrieve only. No trolling. We eliminated that because it makes it a little more sporting. If you're just trolling around the bay. We've made this tournament to where it's a cast and retrieve. Anytime you go into any major tournament, one bass fishing or any type of fishing like that, it's cast and retrieve. There's no trolling allowed in it.
Any questions on that, guys? Please put in the chat. That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. And it's sorry if you guys are trollers and that's your jam, but yeah, just we eliminated trolling just to make this a cast and retrieve tournament. Only fish where you're allowed, no trespassing. So don't go into any environmental preserves or any areas that you're not supposed to be in. If you're not sure on that, there's an app called Fish Legal. You can go on Fish Legal, and I think it breaks down all the bays too, but it'll show you legal fishing areas. Just download the app Fish Legal, or you can just look on the bay and figure out online where the legal designated areas are. Like Mission Bay only has one that I know of. San Diego might have a few areas, mainly military. Okay. I think that's it. It's anglers must wear a U.S. Coast Guard approved flotation device if you're in a raft that requires them. And I think that's it as far as rules go. I'm going to talk about photo requirements next.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the most important things. Larry says 5 hooks. Okay, yes, Larry. You can fish as many hooks as you want on an A-rig in salt water. So 5 hooks, yes, is allowed, biker boy Larry. You can do that. In freshwater, in our locals, you're only allowed 3 hooks. But in saltwater, you're allowed 5 or more.
But you cannot troll the A-rig, okay?
Yep, no trolling allowed.
You have to cast and retrieve it.
Yep, cast and retrieve A-rigs. Okay, so photo requirements. So what we're going to be requiring there, you need to get yourself, if you don't have one. What time are we at here, Roman?
We are at 7:58.6. We're good.
Okay. So if you don't have one of these yet, this is a hog trough, and this is the measuring device that we are recommending. It has a bump board, which is the end of this board right here, and its measurements are in inches. They're not in centimeters. This is in Canada. So this is the recommended bump board that we're going to be using. If you do have something like this, my backup bump board, you can use this as long as it's clear, measurements are clear, and it's in 1/4 inch increments. That's the way that we are judging our fish in 1/4 inch increments. So you can use a device like this. They're just a little harder. I know these are pretty expensive. It's a good backup, but if you're going to fish the entire Spotty Bowl, I definitely recommend. It's so much easier to measure a fish on a device like this. I would definitely recommend getting this style, like the hog trough style. They sell these everywhere. Get them online. I know if you're in a pinch and you need one this weekend, Fastlane sells them. They have a bunch of them. Go talk to Liam down there. He can hook you up. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we want the fish on the bump board. So we want the fish facing. Well, obviously, we don't want the fish facing this way. Can you hear me on that, Roman? I'm too far from it.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I can hear you.
Obviously, we don't want the fish facing this way with the tail against the bump board. We want the fish facing his lips against the bump board with the fins facing up. So we don't want the fish like this. We want it facing left like this. The mouth must be 100% closed. I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to open this fish's mouth. You see that?
Yep.
And look, the fish's mouth is open right now. And that is about a 13 3/4 inch fish. When I close the mouth, that's about a 12-inch fish. I'm sorry, that was with the mouth open, it's like 12 3/4, almost 13. And when I close it, it's about an inch shorter. So in Spotty Bowl, we measure them with the mouth closed. And what do I consider mouth closed? Lips touching lips. So if the mouth is barely open like that, can you see that? That is not considered a closed mouth. The judge will deduct the judge. If you have an open mouth on your fish, it's a 2-inch deduction. And the judge is very picky about this. He's deducted people for mouth that are just barely open. So make sure that when you take your picture, that mouth is lip touching lips. You guys that have fished Spotty Bowl before, you've known. I've got a deduction. I think everybody that's fished Spotty Bowl has got one deduction on that. But these fish are super hard to measure. Spotties are especially in a kayak, I've noticed, they're super hard to measure because first thing is a Spotty wants to do is this part right here, the owie part. When you bring them in the boat, they like flare their gills out. And be careful, guys, if you're new to this. They've got a poker right here that's their main weapon. You'll go to try to hold them, and they twist and they turn. You got to be careful with that spot right there, and obviously the fins. But they're hard to measure, so it takes a little bit of time to learn these things. If you're like Jig Jig Pow for some reason, some of these guys, they can just lay it on there and wave their hand over it, and it relaxes. They take their picture, but for me, they don't relax that much. So the way I take my picture to make sure that the mouth is closed, I put my fingers over the fish, not covering the entire fish, and I use my pinky to hold his mouth shut, and I hold it just like that. And that works for me. Keeping its mouth shut and holding the fish on the bump board. Sticking your fingers inside of its gills is not allowed. We banned that last year because if you sticking your fingers in there, you could damage its gill plates, it damage all kinds of stuff there. And it's legal spotty, believe it or not, it's 12 to 14 years old. So we don't want to be damaging these fish in our tournaments. We catch so many, we don't want to be damaging them. So don't shove your fingers in the gills. Try to respect the spotty and take care of it while you're taking a picture. And be nice to it, right, Roman?
Show it some respect. Put some respect on it.
Show that respect to that spot.
Put some respect on it.
Okay, the tail. So the tail, you are allowed to twist this tail. So obviously I'm not on my bass, but if the tail is twisted like this, that's okay. You can manipulate the tail and maybe get like an extra 1/4 inch out of it. One thing that you cannot do is pinch the tail, which is this part of the fish. The tail has to be wider than this portion of the fish. So you can't pinch this tail and stretch it way out long. It's got to be just wider than that portion of the fish. You're allowed to twist the tail and do whatever you can, but make sure it's fanned out a little bit. You can't pinch it and pull it straight out. So pinch tail is a 2-inch deduction. Be careful on that, guys. And the judge will let you know if it's close to a pinch tail. Just watch it. So don't pinch the tail. No fingers in the gill. 1 photo per fish. Okay, here's the most important part too. A lot of people have forgot this last year. How do we know that you caught that fish that day?
Dun, dun, dun.
We give out a code for every single session. So the Friday AM has a different code than Friday PM. Saturday is a different code. There's 6 codes throughout the weekend. And when you get that code, what I do is I have my Sharp A, and I write that code right
Sharpie?
on my hand. Yeah, so here's my code. Not only do I write it, let's just say it's BB, make sure it's legible. Write it on your hand, but not only do that, but write it on a finger too. Because sometimes your hand's twisted weird and you can't see the whole code, or maybe your photo cut it off. I write the code on all my fingers. And when you take your picture, either have the code on your hand in the photo, or you can have a little card, something that shows that you have your code in the photo. If you don't have the code in the photo, the judge is going to throw it out. Fish is disqualified. There's no deduction. It's just thrown out. It has to have your code. Don't forget your pin. Don't forget something to write on. Don't forget. We've had people that have forgotten a pin, and they've somehow rigged something up on their boat with Band-Aids or whatever, just so that the code is in there. But don't forget your pin, and don't forget the code in the photo. That's the worst, when you catch your 14-inch spotty and there's no code in it, and it doesn't count. So don't forget to do that. Anything I'm missing, Roman, on I guess the only penalty is really, I know one thing I'm missing. So if you're using this style bump board,
Oh yeah.
all around here. If you're using this style bump board, one of the things about this bump board is usually the tail is wider than the bump board. So it's wherever the tail is touching the bump board at the longest point is where the judge is going to do it. He's not going to count the tail if it's way out here floating in the wind. So it's whatever is touching the bump board on these skinny little bump boards. So make sure you have your longest point of your fish on the bump board. I think we've had in past where people have had their tail like this and the long points over here and the long points over here, but he's not going to draw an imaginary line. He just goes to where the longest point of the tail is touching. So if you have this style bump board, make sure you get your tail positioned on there correctly.
That's right. Pinched tail.
What's that?
Pinched tail.
Don't pinch the tail.
Went over that?
Yeah, I did go over that. Is there any questions before I move on about submitting photos? Don't. Yeah, the judge will go insane. Yeah. So yeah, the main thing you need to make sure is that the mouth is closed. Oh yeah, and of course, you cannot have your lure still in the fish's mouth. If you're going for one of the subcategories, the submission fishing co or cool baits or hookup baits, make sure you have the bait out of the mouth and in the photo for that picture. I'll go over that in a minute, but you can't have your fish grips in its mouth. So if you're taking your photo, it's basically the bump board and the fish are the only thing that are going to be on that bump board. Don't leave the lure in its mouth and don't have a set of fish grips on there. I know it's hard to hold those things, but you're going to have to, it just takes a while to get good at measuring these things. No fish grips in the photo.
Perfect.
And I think that's it for that. So let's move on. Sorry, guys. Got to check my notes here. Okay, let's get on to the exciting stuff here. That
was pretty exciting.
Let's get on to some of the other exciting stuff here. Registration fees, if you haven't paid yet, it's basically $60 for the shore division, and that is, to me, is a deal.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
less
super
than
good
$10
deal.
a session. So shore is $60, and that includes all the side pots and all the tournaments, including playoffs if you make it.
And I'm going on the screen with you. Where did it go? And it makes you it enables you to fish for the bounties too.
Yeah. So it's $60 to enter shore division. Weekend warriors is $60. Pro division's $80. Master division is $100. But I think it's the best deal around. You're going to get so much fishing out of it, and you got the opportunity to win side pots. You got the opportunity to win some baits. At the end, there's a really nice party we throw at the end to give out all the awards. It includes going to that, so it's a really good deal, guys. Me and Roman and the judge, we don't make any money on this. We usually lose a ton of money. We enjoy putting it on, but this is not a money making scheme or anything like that. We are not making money.
That's actually a good thing to go over. So we've raised the fees this year a little bit because we're trying to not shoot ourselves in the foot again. The only reason we're able to break even the last couple of years was because Brian donated some of his winnings to paying for the trophies and stuff. So we learned that lesson the hard way. And big shout out, big thank you to Brian for doing that. That was a clutch.
Not just me, the judge, and you also.
True, and also Todd TV Metal Art donated a lot of the stuff for those tournaments too. So that's like another expense we didn't have to take care of. But anyway, the whole point of me even mentioning this was my original idea was that we would make it to where the people participating in the event would win all of the money that was put into the pots. That's just not doable anymore because we end up shooting ourselves in the foot to cover the cost of the food, putting on the event, getting permits, and all that kind of stuff. So we scaled it back.
Belts.
Yeah, awards, belts. We scaled that back a little bit, but still, you're still getting about 80% of the money you're putting in to participate in the event. You're getting it back in the winnings or the pots for the different divisions, right? So definitely it's a tournament that's giving most of the money back to the anglers. And on top of that, we're structuring our deals with our sponsors and our bounty sponsors in a way that maximizes the benefit to the anglers participating in the event. So not only do you get the opportunity to fish the actual tournament and win the Spotty Bowl championship, you also get the opportunity to fish for all the side pots, and on top of that, you get the opportunity to fish for all of the what we're calling the bounties. So those bounties, if you're a vendor and you're kind of interested in that program, you set up a bounty for each week of participation, and you get to decide what the angler needs to do to complete that bounty. And if they accomplish that bounty, then you put up the prize for that. So a bounty, right? And the cool thing about these bounties and these side pots is that those do not have to be completed during your fishing session of the actual tournament. So if you wanted to go and fish the morning session and focus just on really hard fishing for the Spotty Bowl and try to get that win, the rest of the day, since you're already on the water, you can continue to fish for the side bets or the bounties. So it's a really cool way to keep you guys on the water and give you guys opportunities if you're already outside of the running for the main tournament.
Yep.
Cool.
Shout out to TB Metal Arts. He made the belts. He made that Spotty Bowl trophy back there and those fish back there. The TB Metal Arts. If you have never heard of them, check out TB Metal Arts. Google that. You
can just type in ! TB Metal Art into our chat, and you'll get a link for his website. His work is amazing. So please do check him out.
So that is the registration fee for the divisions. If you want to enter and you're just watching this, you go to spottybowl.com. You choose between San Diego and LA. You choose your division, you pay the fee, and you're automatically signed up, and we'll get you set up in Discord where you're going to submit, and the judge will walk you through that and watch this. I just showed you how to submit ours. Okay, so side pots. So I'm going to go over the side pots real quick, just so you guys know. If you don't know who the judge is, he's the most generous guy. He's Mac of the Year 2 years in a row. And he is the owner of Ramona Automotive. Judge is also the person that came up with Spotty Bowl. Me, him, and Roman have worked on it and massaged it and got it to where it is now. But he is actually the creator of Spotty Bowl. And Ramona Automotive has generously donated $500. And you know what, Roman? It's way more than that. He says $500, but it's more like $900 because he. So if you guys have any automotive needs, go check out the judge at Ramona Automotive. He's a super nice guy.
Keep him busy. Keep him off the water.
He's worked on all my cars. He's worked on my motorhome. He does smog up there. He does everything. Check it out. The judge generously donated a ton of money to these side pots. So thank you so much, Eric. I wish we need to get some more sponsors so Eric doesn't fit the bill for all this. But thank you. We do appreciate it. We really do, Judge. Thank you so much. So, okay, side pots. So the side pots, they used to be in prior years that you could only fish them during your Spotty Bowl allotted time. So if you're fishing Friday AM session, that's when you'd fish the side pots. Well, the judge has opened it up so the side pots are going to be fishable during any of the Spotty Bowl hours, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you're going to be able to fish this for all these side pots all 3 days. So if you fish your Spotty Bowl and you want to hang out and fish the rest of the day for some side pots, or you want to come back, you fish on Friday, you want to come back on Sunday, you can fish for those side pots on those 3 days. It's not 24/7. It's only during those hours from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So those are the allotted hours for those 3 days. And how do we know? If you're fishing those for the side pots, you can use any code you want from that weekend. So if you fish Friday morning, you can use that code throughout the entire weekend. Or if you fish Saturday afternoon, you can use that code throughout the weekend. So any of the codes you want to choose from. If you're going to fish side pots one day and Spotty Bowl another, just make sure you include a code in the picture, same as you would as if you're entering something in the Spotty Bowl. Okay, so I'm going to go to screen share again here, Roman.
Okay, I'm ready.
And I'm going to show you guys the winners of last year's side pots.
Ready?
This is some PB shoutouts, basically. Crank it up.
It's like a version of PB shoutouts, right?
Yeah, here we go.
We've seen you out on the water. They say you fishing harder. I guess we'll find out this week on our
Spotty Bowl. Spotty Bowl PB shoutouts. Let's go.
You didn't know if you guys want to be on Fishy Hour, you could submit your pictures to me, Brian Likes to Fish, on Instagram or on Discord. And this is the portion of the show where I show off local catches. And if you can give a little story, I'll put on anything. Send me a picture of your boat, your jet ski, whatever, your kayak, fishing. Put it on there. We'll get you on PB shoutouts. But this week, we're talking about Spotty Bowl side pots. So this is an example of how a results show would go on Wednesdays after Spotty Bowl. So after Spotty Bowl, I'll do a side pot update on what the current standings are, and I'll also go over the winners of that session of it, Spotty Bowl. So first up, heaviest Spotty. So last year, this was the heaviest Spotty. This is how we want you to submit these type of pictures. If you're going to enter this category for heaviest Spotty, you will need your code in the picture during your session or during that weekend. You need your code. You need the scale. You need to show the fish. You need to show everything on it. Last year's was 2.4 pounds. Longest Spotty, just like you're submitting your normal picture code, but same thing. So longest Spotty this year, $100. Heaviest Spotty, $100. Smallest Spotty, $50 this year. It's $50, same as last year. If you catch a tiny one, then you started at 10 inches. Measure that thing starting at the 10 inches. Because it's probably going to be a dink. Smaller than 8. Longest halibut this year. Sorry, I'm skipping through these. Let me make sure that the prices are correct. Longest halibut. longest halibut this year is $50. And then remember, these are all donated by Ramona Automotive. $50. And he's also not only is it longest halibut from vessel or from but the shore division get their own category this year. Longest halibut from shore. So there's 2 categories for halibut. For longest from shore and longest from vessel. Then we got longest other this year. Longest other. I'm sorry, this year it's heaviest other. We don't have a longest other. So we got heaviest other, which is right here, which is any fish in the bay, not a spotted bay bass, anything other than a spotted bay bass. Last year, I don't know, Get Jones Daniel pulled a 6.8 pounder out of Mission Bay. Remember this fish?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's crazy. He caught this fish. That's a huge sand bass out of Mission Bay. I didn't know I've never caught one that big in Mission Bay, but that was the heaviest other. Heaviest other this year is $50. Anything besides a spotted bay bass. But this is how we want you to submit it. Code, weight, fish. So when you're going for heaviest, if you want to participate in those, you need to have a digital scale. Smallest other, that's also this year, and smallest other is $25, same as last year.
Yep.
And that's gonna be a hard one to beat from last year. 3.5 inches. Real Dreamer got that. Okay, here's an interesting category. I think Salty Dangler won this the first year. Daniel Gets Jones won this. So this is the trifecta. This year, trifecta is $50, not $25, and it's the 3 bass in our bays, which are the calico, spotty, and sand bass, total length combined. So you'll need a picture of each of those with the code in the picture, and the biggest, I guess, longest of those 3 fish combined caught in that weekend. You can't spread it out through like 3 weekends. In that weekend will count as the biggest trifecta.
There you go.
Okay. And this is what we call the bounty. This year's a little different. I'm going to exit this screen share at this point, Roman. So let me exit this.
Okay. Give me a sec. All right.
So the bounty category is, let me make sure I got everything here. Longest spotty, heaviest spotty, smallest spotty, heaviest other, anything besides that, longest trifecta, longest halibut from shore, and longest spotty from shore too, $50. And if you want to see, just go to spottybowl.com, and it shows all the side pots, and also the side pots in Discord show the amount for each. So longest spotty from shore also, and then smallest other. So that's anything but it. So the bounties, we have hookup baits. Thank you, Chad, for joining and being a bounty and getting involved in Spotty Bowl this year. Hookup baits has they've got an awesome bounty, Roman. It's every single session.
Yeah, their bounty is their bounty is going to be one of the new way we're trying to do them all. Yeah.
So the hookup baits basically is donating $50 in baits every single session to the person that catches the biggest bag of fish on a hookup bait. So what we're looking for is a picture of the fish on your hog trough with hookup bait in the picture, also the code. And it's a minimum of 2 fish, but biggest fish wins. So if you catch all 5 of your best fish on hookup baits, then you'll combine that entire length, and the person that session with the longest score will win $50 worth of hookup baits. That's pretty awesome. So that's really awesome. Yeah, and that's so. If you're interested in that, hookup baits, just make sure you have the bait in the picture and take a picture just like you normally were submitting to Spotty Bowl.
And super important that you remember to take the bait out of the mouth of the fish, or else it's not going to count towards your normal tournament. The bait has to be like it could be on the deck. It could be, you could put it like next to the fish, but don't cover any of the other markings. Or after you're done taking your main or take one picture for the submission for the tournament, and maybe take one with the lure in the mouth for Chad. But like, it's gonna be extra work. Make sure you okay, because you want the whole bag, right? Yeah, he wants the whole bag.
So it's the biggest bag caught on hookup baits.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Chad's not fishing for us. Dario says that'll be Chad every time. I don't think Chad's trying to win his own bag. Maybe he is. I doubt it. There's a lot of hookup bait guys in it this year. That's going to be a hard one to win. So good luck on that. Thank you, Chad, so much for donating that. Submission Fishing Co. If you don't know who Muto is, Muto has been a longtime member of the MMFC. He has his own show on Thursday nights, Submission Fishing on YouTube. Check that out. He also has Submission Fishing Co., which is a slow pitch jig. They work awesome too. I fish those a lot. I'm a pro staff for him, and he's also donated $100 Submission Fishing worth of gear for the longest spotty caught on Submission Fishing Co. for the season. So for the longest spotty caught on a Submission Fishing Co. for the season, at the end of the season, you will get a $100 credit in submission fishing gear, and that's good for the LA guys and also for the San Diego guys. So we're not competing against each other. The side pots are separate for LA than they are for San Diego. So thank you, Muto. $100 Submission Fishing Co. Worth of gear. And then Cool Baits has also done the same thing. Cool Baits is donating $100 credit towards whatever fishing lures you'd like off their webpage. And that is for heaviest spotty and or heaviest bass. So same thing as last year. Cool Baits is it's the only side pot that's 24/7. You're allowed to fish anywhere in the bay for all 3 bass: calico, sand bass, and also spotted bay bass. And the heaviest bass of the season in weight will win the $100 towards Cool Baits product.
There you go. Very cool.
And the code will be given out for that at the beginning of the season. It's the only side pot you can fish any day. So if you're fishing Wednesday night at the bait barge, you can be fishing Cool Baits and try to get the heaviest bass. So that's a 24/7 bounty.
Very nice.
Okay, one last thing I'd like to talk about. I know this is going a little long, guys, but there's a lot to cover. There's a thing called Angler of the Year. Angler of the Year is somebody that fishes all their sessions, and the Angler of the Year from each shore, pro, weekend warriors, and masters. There'll be an Angler of the Year, and that is the person that fishes the entire season that gets the highest score throughout the season. Angler of the Year is hard to get. Sometimes Angler of the Year does not win Spotty Bowl, but they've proven that they were Angler of the Year by getting the highest score throughout the season. So your best of 6 or best of 6 out of 7 with your mulligan is Angler of the Year. So you guys want to try to shoot for that. That's a big award to get Angler of the Year. And it's a hard one to get. There's a lot of good anglers out there. And if you get bumped out of playoffs, you may not win it, but you can still go for Angler of the Year. The results. So if you guys did Spotty Bowl last year, the results are given every Wednesday night. I know it's a long time to wait, but the judge, I mean, he's got tons of photos to go through. He's got 3 days worth of photos, probably 100 anglers. So we give the judge a few days, and this gives him also time if there's a discrepancy in one of your photos to ask you, hey, do you have another picture of this? Or, if he has a question about one of your photos, this gives the judge the time, a day or two, to go through all the photos and make sure everything's correct. And then we come out with the results on Wednesday on this exact show live on Wednesday nights. And it'll be the Wednesday directly after the weekend. And the best thing, too, at the very end of all this, we have an award ceremony. I'm not sure the quite date on it. We'll figure out the date when we get closer. But we have an award ceremony where we're handing out all the plaques and belts and awards and whatever. We usually have a raffle and food, and it all comes to an end, usually on Mission Bay, and we have an award ceremony at the end. Okay, before I lose my voice, is there any questions? Do you have any questions?
Looking good.
One thing I didn't say is how to submit a side pot. So
let's do it.
I'll do that real quick. The side pots are also submitted in our Discord channel. So you're going to go to your Discord channel. Let's see if I can get this to show up here. So there's a list of side pots here. Does that show up?
Yep.
There's a whole list in Discord.
Let me go full screen.
And it shows what you win if you win that category. I'm going to take longest spotty, for example. So say on Friday morning, somebody's going to submit a longest spotty. Let's say somebody gets crazy and catches a 14.5 inch. They submit it the longest spotty. They hold that until somebody else beats it. So if you have a fish that beats a category, go ahead and submit it and into the side pots. So you're just going to click on that category. Here's longest spotty, and you're going to do exactly what you did, how to submit. You're going to hit that plus button right here, and then you're going to select your photo, and then you're going to put the length or weight, and then you're going to hit the blue button and submit it. I just submitted a picture, the longest spotty. So that's how you're going to do it, just as if you were submitting your fish for the Spotty Bowl. And once you submit that, the judge will okay it, that it looks good, and it's judge. He's gonna look at that and tell it everything looks good, and you are the current holder of that. Most of these categories will be beat throughout the year, unless somebody catches something crazy the first 2 weeks, and it's hard to beat. But that's how you submit the side pots.
Very cool.
Chad's asked if there are any yellowtail side pots this year. Not yet. Last year that was thrown out, Chad, as a biggest yellowtail. I think that was TB Metal Arts donated a gift for that, but we do not have. Sometimes Spotty Bowl Chad molds. We sometimes will add a category, sometimes mid-season, but nothing yet. So maybe.
Yeah, that was like a random one, right?
Yeah, I think we threw that in a little while. Any 2 side pots? Doug, we're always looking for sponsors. If somebody wants to sponsor a side pot, because right now, Cool Baits, Hookup Baits, and Submission Fishing Co. are submitting side pots. If you have a company or you want to submit a side pot, let us know. I'm checking to see. Assist hooks, yes, no problems. Trout hubs and assist hooks on submission fishing jigs can count for both bounties. No, it's got to be either a LC Trout Hubs. I think is that your name? It has to be the actual hookup bait in the picture and also the submission fishing co in the picture. I'm just going through to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, Dave Rage asked, trifecta can span multiple days on one weekend. That's a great question, Dave. Eric, the judge, I'm gonna let him make that call because I don't know. Last year the trifecta was in one session, but since he's opened up side pots all 3 days, I'm gonna have to ask the judge on that. Eric, can you catch all 3 species throughout the whole weekend? Let us know in chat, Eric. So hopefully he saw that question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good one, yeah. Yeah, no Kevin or Kevin. Yeah, I haven't seen Kevin. Where's Kevin, guys?
Kevin's around. I talked to him a couple of days ago. He's busy, but he's doing well.
Kevin C. Samurai, he's always around. I'm sure he's been fishing.
Oh, I'm working on these logo. Look at these guys. Ooh, see that?
Working on logos right now?
I just had them ready to go, so I just put them up. So I need to tweak them a little bit. But when we're doing the episodes for the show, for the results, we're gonna have these logos cycling through just as a little value add for the sponsors, just to show our appreciation, and then you get a better quality Cool Baits one from you guys, Brian.
Okay. Christopher asked, so the side pots were already automatically entered. No, sometimes the judge will say, hey, you got a fish in there that might beat the side pot and give you a little nudge, but it's your responsibility to enter your fish in the side pot. So if you catch a halibut that's 24 inches long and the current record's 21, I just showed you how to do it. Submit that into the side pots. It says it does not reset every session. So the side pots, minus the hookup bait one, the side pot, that one resets every session, but the side pots are for the entire season. So it'll be beat several times. So like the longest Spotty, that's like I think that one's for $250. It's like the most biggest bounty on the fish. I think that's $250 on that, is it? Am I right? That one will be beat several times probably, and then it comes down to like a 1/4 inch. I think last year was 17 inches. So that award is given out at the end of the season.
Very cool.
Yeah. Point. Okay. So this is a great question. So if you're measuring a fish, and let's say, I don't know if it's going to show up. I'm just going to put this on here. Let's say the fish is in between 12 and 12.25. The judge is going to round that down to the closest line. So he does not round up. If it's between the two marks, the 2/4 inch marks, he's going to round that down to 12 inches. So it has to be touching the line in order for it to get a 12.25. It cannot be in between the two lines. So the closest line. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It doesn't reach the line. It has to actually be touching the line. And trust me, guys, if you guys are new to this, the judge has like a computer where he can zoom in and see if that tail is actually touching that 12-inch line. If it's just a hair short, he's going to give you 11.75. So try to make sure that your tail is touching, the furthest point. And you'll get good at that, adjusting the tail, just making sure that it's all in your picture. I'm just checking to see if we have any other questions, any last-minute questions, guys.
It looks good.
Can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait for all this too. This is exciting. We got a lot of new people in, which is exciting. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's kind of a grind. It's a long season, but you're going to see that January is tough. It's a tough fishing month. Always is for spotties. I mean, spotties are always around, but January is generally, especially in Mission Bay, it's a tough month. So don't get frustrated because April, May, June, those are around the corner, and we're all going to be bagging a ton of fish during then. But if it's your first Spotty Bowl and it's your first time to tournament fishing, you're going to see that you're going to progressively learn from these people out there, and you're going to progressively get a better and better and better angler. And I guarantee you by the end of June and July, your bags are going to be considerably bigger than when you first started. And if you're one of those guys too that do a lot of pre-fishing and stuff, you're going to learn a ton of stuff out there. I'm really looking forward to fishing up in LA this year. And first time here.
Nice to hear that, Nathan. Welcome, dude. Are you going to be fishing the LA OC division or the San Diego division. If you're gonna fish San Diego, stay tuned for us for our outing. You can come fish with us too.
That's right. Salty says 1 pixel and you get rounded down. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's and you always want that fish to make that extra 1/4 inch, but if it doesn't, I mean, he checks to make sure that the lips are closed, touching that bump board, and that.
Have Roman explain what to do when it says your picture's too big to submit. Are people still getting that?
Very first year we had this problem. And one thing that I learned to do from that, I mean, one way Discord can charge you. There's a like, what is it per month? And you get to upload a bigger file.
Oh.
But if you are getting that, you may want to turn the resolution down when you're taking those photos. If you have, the latest and greatest phone that takes that ultra high resolution, this is one reason to practice this too, is to make sure that Discord will accept that. If it's too big of a file, sometimes it'll tell you it won't. So it's a good way. Practice. Make sure if you need to turn your resolution down, you do that now. If you want a super high resolution, there's an option on Discord where it's 99 cents a month or something like that, where you can upload a bigger file.
Yeah, but what I do is I use the Discord app itself to take the picture. So instead of hitting the plus sign, I hit the camera sign.
Yeah, you can do that.
I take that one picture and then it tells me if you want to use this one or not. I look at it. It's a little bit. It's not as cover your butt type of scenario where you have a bunch of extra pictures, but that's the way I do it. And like Brian said, you can resize your photos too on some of the phones.
A little trick that I learned is,
there you go. LC has LC says screenshot your photo and send the screenshot.
There you go. There's a hack.
Yeah, I may lose geotag though. Yeah.
If you're new to tournament fishing and you use Google Photos or something similar to that, every picture you take of every fish will be stored in your Google Photos, and you can pull that up in Google Maps. So throughout the year, you can see where you've caught every single fish. Like my phone, I can go back 2 years, Spotty Bowl, and I could see where I've caught every single fish. But that's a cool feature on Google Photos. It stores them in maps. Okay, Roman. So I think we've gone pretty over on time. But this is our last chance to get any questions in, guys. This is going to be an exciting season. Let's hope we don't get too much rain this weekend. It's basically going to be rain or shine. I don't know. There might be some good days, might be some rainy days, but this is going to be an exciting session. Okay, one thing I wanted to read about Spotty Bowl. Okay, Angler's Code of Conduct. I read this last year, and I'll read this year. Anglers shall at all times conduct themselves in a professional and friendly manner that demonstrates integrity, honor, and respect towards fellow competitors and tournament staff. Proper sporting ethics and good sportsmanship shall be expected from all participants. Sportsmanship is defined as fair play, respect for opponents, and polite behavior while competing in Spotty Bowl. And this is something that I'm going to expect out of every single person that is fishing Spotty Bowl, is to respect other people on the water, respect other boaters, and respect everybody out there. We are putting ourselves out as a club, and we're putting ourselves out there as a tournament, and we want to keep this as a gold standard. So don't go out there and make a fool out of yourself during these tournaments with other anglers. Let's get along. Let's respect each other on and off the water, and that's what we're going to expect. And there's going to be some times where you're going to have some maybe discussions with the judge. Make sure you are nice to that guy. I don't want to hear anything about anybody giving the judge a hard time. If he does have a hard time with you, he always has Roman as a backup to jump in if there is any questions. So let's respect each other out there, guys, and let's have a great time this Spotty Bowl.
Very cool. Some last minute questions that came up that are good. Judge, yeah, I'll be producing the codes and automating that process for you, so you're good. Salty, in response to Nathan's question, Nathan, this is for San Diego, but if you join our club, Mad Max Fishing Club, it's free to join. You just got to go sign up to our Discord server, and you'll know what we're doing behind the scenes as a club. This show used to be a lot of how we used to keep in touch with the club, but now we do most of that in Discord. So if you want to join our Discord server, Salty just put the link in for you with the Nightbot MMFC Discord server invite. Click on that, join our Discord server, and then you'll see if you're in LAOC, Carl's up there and Jesse's up there, and we have a presence in LAOC, so you can meet up with those guys and fish up there. Or if you're down here in San Diego, you can meet up with us and fish down here too. It's a really cool club. Ton of cool dudes in there, all willing to share knowledge and learn and take the time to teach somebody that's new or whatever. So yeah, just jump in there and just like with all the stuff that I like to do on social media, it's a unique place here because our motto is to treat each other with respect and just don't go into any topics that could cause conflict, because we're trying to unify people through fishing, not find differences. That's the goal.
Yep. Okay. So tournament code question. The tournament code is randomly generated. It comes out exactly at the beginning of each session. So if you're a 6 a.m.er, at 6 a.m. your code will come out, and it is in Discord. And if you look in here, there's in your Discord, there's a line right under tournament info that says tournament code. I'm going to click on that, and that will automatically generates a code, and that code will be given, and that's a code you're going to either put on your hand or on a card, but that's randomly generated every session. So each session will have its own code. Make sure you look that up before you start fishing. That's the first thing I do. I get my code, I write it on, then I start fishing.
What's up, Michael? Good to see you in here. Michael's got a great question. Weather delay.
Okay, Michael. So we have, I believe, in the past had a weather delay. If we see there's a red flag warning or there's lightning or some type of weather that we shouldn't be on the water, high wind warning, stuff like that, we can delay it a week. We make that call hopefully the weekend before. We usually announce that on the Wednesday show. I think we had one time that only happened one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Judge, right, and not unless it's dangerous, unless they're like a small craft advisory or something. That's the only time we do it. If it's like this weekend where there's a small chance of
get that rain gear, son.
Yeah, get on that. Make sure you put a sharp. Chad says,
exactly.
Yeah, make sure you put the sharp. You know what, Chad? I have 3 Sharpies because you don't want to go out there and it dried up. Yeah, so have a way.
So
Sharpie, Sharp A. A ballpoint pen, have it all in there. Just some way to write your code in
Dave said people fished the tsunami last year. Yeah, it's true.
I fished the tsunami. Me and Chad both fished the tsunami in SBS last year, and it was pretty exciting. There was definitely a huge tide swing at one point.
That's funny.
It was pretty interesting. No live bait, Doug. Yes, absolutely not. This is artificials only. Doug, there is no live bait. There's no cut bait, no bait of no chumming. There's none of that. It's all artificial lures, and scent is allowed. Yeah, no live bait.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was wild, Chad.
All right, so if you've watched this video and we didn't answer a question you might have, and you're signed up for the tournament, the best thing to do would be to jump into your thread where you're supposed to submit your fish and ask the judge your question directly. Okay, if he doesn't see it, I'll see it, and we'll answer your question, and you'll be good to go. Other than that, yeah, it's gonna be a fun tournament.
So, guys, it's been a year since I've had it. It's Spotty Bowl this weekend. Guess what?
Chug.
Party. I'm going to get out there this weekend. I'm going to snack some grass. I'm going to catch some bass. I'll see you guys in the water later. I'm out of here.
Thanks, Brian. Nice. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today and watching this episode, this special edition of Fishy Hour. Shout out to Brian. Thank you so much for taking the time to set that up and gathering all the information. Also, Eric, the Judge Lehman. Thank you so much. I can't wait for Spotty Bowl. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, it's exciting. Super excited. I can't believe it's already starting. It's going to be this weekend. So crazy. Awesome. Real quick, guys, make sure you do give a shout out to our subscribers. A shout out to our sponsors. I gotta get used to this right here. Go give a follow on Instagram and all these companies. So Hook Up Baits. Make sure you go on their Instagram and give them a follow if you haven't followed them already. Also, Cool Baits Lures. Make sure you go over there, give them a follow on the Instagram, watch the YouTube channel, wherever you can find them on social. And of course, a lot of you should already be following Submission Fishing Co. on Instagram, and also go over there and give him a subscribe on his channel, Submission Fishing Co. Muto in the house. Thanks so much, guys. I'm so excited about this year's tournament, and the participation is already amazing, and we're just getting started. Yeah, it just keeps growing and it's super exciting. So I'm gonna be out there this weekend trying to get you guys more sponsors, more bounties, and make this even more exciting. So once again, thanks so much for tuning in today. And if you have any questions about the tournament or about the club or about fishing in San Diego or anything, just hit me up. I'm on Discord, on our Discord, !MMFC in the chat. You can also hit me up on Instagram at Roman Castro. And that's about it. If you want to email me directly for some reason, you can email me roman@romancastro.com. Other than that, y'all have a good night. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Make sure you watch Submission Fishy go tomorrow at 7. Woo! Can't believe I didn't start it, dude. Oh my